Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, B?
I'm good. Let's get with it.
Let's
Sunday night. It's time.
It's time. We have a great show tonight. We're going to preview the 2024 college football season, and we're going to be like other sports shows for a change. Disclaimer is it's not really our style, but we know as much about the future as anyone else. We'll also catch up on all the important topics in sports, especially in Clemson. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all forms of social media. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
That's right. And let's don't forget about Reuben's Foods, Sports Spirits, and Catering, the best wings around. Speaking of wings, I just had some wings and they were delicious. 2 locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at ReubensC.com. Reuben's is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans.
The Fun Fans Podcast is also brought to you by Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare Services. At Ivy O'Sullivan, they are more than just chiropractors. Since 1977, this family-owned business, located in downtown Spartanburg, has been helping people with techniques other than the typical twisting and popping that can sometimes make people nervous about trying a chiropractor. I've been a patient my entire life, and I take my own children there as well. If you have an ache or a pain, give Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare a try. And if you mention the Fun Fans Podcast, they will donate 100% of your initial evaluation cost to their charity of the month. So call them at 864-583-3967. That's 864-583-3967, or find them at ivyosullivan.com to feel better and function at your best. All right, let me get this music turned down here, and we are going to. So what's all the other talking heads doing there? You know, it's preseason, so they're predicting. They're saying who's going to finish where, and they're going into great detail. But we're going to say who's going to finish where, and we're going to give our reasoning, and that's going to pretty much be about it. It'd be interesting. I did think about this. It'd be fun to come back at the end and see, you know, how right,
if we were right or wrong,
or how far off we are. All right, and we're going to start with the ACC.
Well, I'll keep my notes.
Yeah, definitely. It's on Google. It's on Google Docs right here, so it's not going anywhere. So with the ACC, and we'll start with number 1, and we'll go back and I'll do who I say 1 and you say 1, and we'll say 1 and we'll go 2 and like that.
All right.
That's how I heard those other guys do it.
I'm ready.
So, of course, the team that's going to finish first in the ACC are the Clemson Tigers.
I 100% agree.
Okay, we can move on to number 2.
I don't think there's any question about that.
No question. All right. The number 2. Well, let me say one reason. They're going to pick up where they left off. You and I both said it when Dabo said, "If Clemson's a stock, you better buy it now." They're continuing what they were finishing at the end of last season, and I think that's the mentality, and I think that's what they're going to do.
And as long as healthy,
yeah,
all the receivers are healthy,
right? Healthy, and
I'm just telling you, people can say what they want to. Clemson's got a lot of people back.
Well, the other thing is there's no way we can fumble the ball 28 times again.
No, and what happened at Duke last year won't ever happen again.
Right. So, all right. So Clemson's going to win the ACC. At number 2, I have Miami. I'm expecting Hurricanes to step it up a little bit. Miami. Yeah. So
disagree.
One reason is their schedule. So one thing that's going to happen, we're up to 16, 17 teams in the ACC, and the top 2 teams are going to make it. I think there's going to be a tie. There might be like a 3-way tie for one of those 2 spots, and there's going to be teams that didn't even play each other and all this kind of stuff. So hopefully they have their tiebreakers ready. But I think Miami is going to be pretty good. If they would be better if they didn't make some fluke mistakes as well. And the only team they have to play is Florida State. I just think they have the easiest schedule.
Well, so I'm going to go with Florida State University. As a colleague of mine who is a huge Florida State fan, said the other day, Norvell wrote the book on how to use the portal. All right. Well, who's writing the checks? That's
Yeah.
the question with the portal. But I think Florida State, talent-wise, they should be at the top of the ACC almost every year.
They should be. I'm not putting them up there. I have Florida State number 4, but I'm not putting them up there because at the top because I'm sticking with my own philosophy of live by the portal, die by the portal.
Okay, well, it's your
we'll
list.
See. I will put a disclaimer though. We'll get to Florida State in a minute. For me, and number 3, I have Virginia Tech. They're a sleeper. They've got good players. Their schedule's not all that tough, honestly, either. And so I got the Hokies at number 3.
Yeah, and I have NC State just because, as much as I hate to say that, I really do. I think they've done a pretty good job in the portal, and they seem to like to needle Clemson a little bit at the ACC media days when one of their players said, "Oh yeah, we look forward to beating Clemson every year."
Yeah,
that comes from their head coach. But anyway,
yeah, but they are going to have a pretty good team. They've got that one receiver that's hard to catch, and now his brother's there as well or something. So
yeah,
it's going to be they got a dynamic sibling duo going. Number 4 is where I have Florida State, and going back to what I was saying, I think they're going to drop pretty much way off because of in my opinion, you bring the players in, but you got to have time to build and mold, and I think that's going to backfire on some teams as much as it's going to help some teams. But my disclaimer is this, and this is all about DJ. The one reason why DJ, we've talked about this before, he hasn't played at any kind of top Division I quarterback, definitely not even elite, don't even go there kind of thing. However, he does have all the tools. If he ever flips the switch, he can be really, really good, and it can be a different. But if DJ plays at that bottom of tier 1 or top of tier 2 type, he's a good quarterback level like he has all of his other years, I don't think they finish in the top 3 in the ACC. Right.
Well, I would say, that I went back and watched a game DJ started, which thanks Tiger Net for playing all the games we've beaten Carolina the last however many years. It's awesome. If I'm bored, I watch it. And it's the video from the TV, but it's Todd Ellis audio. It's incredible. DJ threw 3 balls in the first quarter at Carolina the last time he played there that hit people in the hands, and they dropped them. So I'm going to go back to, if you went back and watched, I mean, he made some pretty bad throws, but at the same time, there wasn't anybody to throw it to. But my number 4 team in the ACC is Virginia Tech, simply because I think that's a hard place to play. They don't have a very strong schedule, even though I do believe the Tigers go there this year. And they got my guy, Jalen Lane, back. So I'm pulling for Jalen Lane.
Yep. Pulling for Jalen Lane for sure. Okay, so that's our top 4 in the ACC. A little mix of Clemson, Miami, Virginia Tech, Florida State, and NC State. I believe we're only different on one school. So we'll see what the Fun Fans how we do at the end of the season. All right, let's look at the SEC.
I hope we're right on the number 1. That's all I can say.
Oh, for sure. All right, the SEC, number 1 in the Southeastern Conference, I have the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's just because, I mean, they're that good.
To beat a man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
However, I am picking the Texas Longhorns to do that this year.
Number 1.
I think Georgia's getting all fat and sassy, and they've got a couple guys getting arrested. Did you see the thing on Instagram that said the new game location for the Clemson-Georgia game in August would be the Atlanta Detention Center?
And I didn't see that. That's funny.
Anyway, Texas Longhorns, number 1. Now, I'm going to do my number 2 team's Georgia, so you can talk about your number 2 team.
All right, so my number 2 team is LSU. I think they're going to get it together. They always have the athletes. They've, it's kind of they needed a rebuilding year with their new coach, and I think they're going to their schedule is, most teams, I'm predicting Bama to pretty much fall off. Sorry, not sorry. And LSU there's usually Bama's in the way. So I don't think Bama's going to be in their way and LSU's going to finish second. And you said you had Georgia at number 2. I'll skip. My number 3 is Texas. So Texas is going to be right there in the mix with the top teams in the Southeastern Conference. They're
So
that good.
every preseason poll in America has Georgia and Texas in the top 4.
Yeah. That's going to be
my number 3 is our guy, Venables, Oklahoma, coming in at number 3.
Okay. You never know.
People are very high on them after spring.
I mean,
I'm going to go with them because I know that guy can coach. All right. They get the right dudes in there, they'll be fine. And then I'll do my number 4 is Bama, just because they're Bama. And is Nick Saban really not coaching? He's still working there. You know,
I don't know. Maybe so, but I think, like I say, and when I say fall off, I mean they're still going to be a really, really good team. It's just going to be tough to finish in the top 3 or 4 in the SEC this year. And I've got Tennessee at number 4. Kind of just because they're due. They're that good, and they're due. They're just due for the year to come together. And coming together, huh?
How about you got teams that aren't in our top 4? Texas A&M, highly ranked preseason.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Missouri, they're all highly ranked preseason.
I had Ole Miss in there until I remembered that Texas had moved into the conference.
Right.
All right. So, okay, quick review. So, out of our top 4 between the two of us, we got Georgia, LSU, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Oklahoma.
Boomer Sooner.
So, those are 6. So, if those 6 do well, we'll be on to something. All right. The Big Ten. I've got Ohio State at number 1.
Yeah. I have a tie at number 1, I think. Ohio State and Oregon.
Well, okay, so I'm looking at this stuff because, normally we worry about, we're looking for the odd stories, and I'm catching, the spelling bee stuff and the hot dog eating contest to put together material for this podcast. I'm looking at this Big Ten conference, and I'm like, why does everybody say this is some kind of big powerhouse conference? They've got like 17 teams now, right? All of them have 16, 18 teams.
Right.
Well, out of those, there's 3 or so that are really, really good. The rest of them are, average good. I mean, they're good.
And Michigan's probably the 4th best.
Well, yeah. Well, let's see, I got Michigan falling off too. And
then you got Southern Cal's in there now too. They're a wild card. You never know.
You never know. But I don't know. Just Ohio State. You got Ohio State up there with Oregon. Oregon's in my top 4, but I got Penn State at number 2.
Yeah, they can't.
I'm going with the they're due. I think Penn State's style of play is gonna fare well.
Is going to finish third
against the new Pac-16. So you have them at 3rd?
Yeah, because they look too slow in those uniforms. They'll never beat the really fast teams.
Well, I have some new teams next. I have UCLA 3rd, and then 4th is where I have Oregon. So go ahead. What you got?
Well, 4th I have, and there's a reason, Illinois.
They're good.
Because one of my good buddies he was at Carolina, and he got demoted, and he took a job at Illinois. Mr. Justin Stepp sent me a text on my birthday. Happy birthday. And I said, go Illini. That's what I told him. So I'm picking them 4th because even though they're really not in like the top 12 of that conference, because they're going to do magical things.
They're going well, and I have my reasoning for UCLA 3rd is Chip Kelly, right? I mean, he's going to finally score a bunch of points like he used to. I can feel it. He's going to get the athletes in there, and he's going to get it done. But then Oregon, all these are going to be really, really good teams. It's just going to be hard to finish in the top. We did a top 4. It's going to be hard to finish in the top 4 of a conference with 16 schools. I mean,
there's some good teams everywhere.
I don't care what conference you're talking about. All right. So last but not least, the Big 12. And Bailey, make sure I get my cue.
I'll tell you when.
Okay. Does it matter which one I click?
I don't care. You're going to scroll through both of them, but it's in a few minutes.
Okay. So number 1 in the Big 12, the prediction for me is Utah. Not because I like saying the Utes, but because, they are legit year in and year out. And with what's left in that conference, they're the one.
And they still have good football schools in that conference. TCU's in there.
Yep.
West Virginia every now and then they're pretty good. But I'm going Kansas State. I just think Kansas State always finds a way to be tough, and they're number one in my opinion. But Utah is number 2.
Okay. I've got Oklahoma State at number 2, and I know you have them on your list, but not yet. And that's my second favorite. I don't. Second favorite is like way back there. Second favorite. Oklahoma State I've pulled for them ever since. And man, does it go back to when we were in college when he was like the "I'm a man, I'm 40" speech?
Yeah, but it wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
We were in college a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
So I'll tell you, Oklahoma State's my number 4, and this is why.
All right.
Their mascot, Pistol Pete. How can you not like this guy? All right, look at this guy.
Yeah.
This is the best mascot in the Big 12, in my opinion, and that's why I picked him 4th. I like the other one, man. The ones where he's running around on the field like it's a person in there with that big old huge head on. It's awesome. I love it.
I think it is a person in there.
It is. I guarantee it is.
And if that don't have Second Amendment written all over it, I don't know what does.
Right. I mean, we're not promoting gun violence or anything, but.
All right. Well, you skipped your number. You have them at number 4.
Who's number 3? Kansas is number 3.
Okay, Kansas. I have Arizona. This is the one we're going to have 8 different teams maybe. I have Arizona State at number 3. And honestly, the only reason is because all the other talking heads talk about how they're good. And then at number 4, I have the running Deons.
Colorado? Okay. Yeah. Well, you're wrong.
I could be way off.
Yeah, but so while we're talking about football, and I mean, I know the segment's not over, but here's a fun fan fact. Did you know that the University of California is a member of the ACC? They are going to travel this year to 5 away games, a total of 20,720 miles round trip. That is almost 83% of the Earth's circumference. That's only 4,000 miles short of going around the world.
Wow.
And is it really worth being in the ACC? I mean, come on.
4,000 miles short of going around. See, you'll never find that on your typical sports show.
They're not talking about this on ESPN or Fox Sports. Paul Feinbaum doesn't even know that.
He's clueless. That's amazing. All right, we'll put all this together. Bailey, you can share that with me, or is that handwritten?
It's handwritten.
Well, send me a picture. I'll type it up to post with our show, and we'll put it out there because I'm not scared that I picked Arizona State number 3 and Colorado number 4 in the Big 12, and definitely not scared that I picked Clemson number 1. All right, the other thing we're going to pick, everyone wants to know who's going to be in the playoffs. Where's my playoffs? I'll tell you. Do what?
Name. The highest Notre Dame could finish is 5th.
What happened to I had my playoffs. Hang on.
I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Sorry. Technical difficulties. All right, we're going to do the same. You want to just call out who you got in the playoffs?
I'm just going to tell you who's in the playoffs.
Tell me who you got in the playoffs. Go.
Clemson.
Yeah, no particular order for me.
I'm going top 4 seeds because they get a bye.
Okay.
Clemson, Oregon, Kansas State, Texas. All right, my next 7, 8, Notre Dame is going to be in there.
Yes.
You know that.
I agree.
LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, Oklahoma, and Alabama. That is 50% of the field will be from the Southeastern Conference.
50. You put 6 SEC teams in there? Boo.
It's where they're ranked.
Yeah. I didn't do that. Well, I don't think. That's another part of the conversation in a minute. So this is in no particular order. I didn't even think about seeding. But I took some of the top teams in the conferences that I picked. So I have Clemson, Miami, Georgia, LSU, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, UCLA, Utah, Oklahoma State, Tennessee, and Notre Dame. Because I agree with you. I looked at Notre Dame's schedule. I mean, without having to play a conference championship and with 12 spots, Notre Dame's going to get a spot. It's just like it's going to be ridiculously easy for them. It should be.
Did you look at any of the preseason rankings before you did this?
A little bit. What?
Oklahoma State ain't even on the radar.
Well, that don't mean nothing.
But they got Pistol Pete, baby.
They're gonna show up, show out. But the thing is, so I've heard people say, these conferences should get like automatic 4 spots. Now I'm not saying, like, I have 4 SEC teams. Looking at those teams, they're going to get 4 in, but I completely disagree with, any more automatic bids before the season even starts than 2. If the 2 that plays for your conference championship, sure, let's say they're guaranteed in. But you never know how the season's going to fall. You never know. You can't, if they start locking in this conference, there's 12-team playoff. Okay, that's going blah, blah, blah. But then the conferences with the most money get a minimum of 4 or a minimum of 5. I mean, that'll defeat the purpose of the whole, let's let them play it out on the field concept.
Well, the argument is just now going to be between 12, 13, 14, 15. 11 through 15 is going to be highly debated.
Highly debated. But we have it here. I'll put it up when we post it so everybody will know what we predicted. And we'll see. We'll compare it to the other preseason polls and see. We'll have our own little poll by the time we put that together. So
the only thing that may happen in the SEC is they just beat each other up all year. I mean, why would someone voluntarily go to that league to play football except for money? I mean, everybody's, it's all, ego and this and that. And we're going to be the best. That's okay. But you better be 2 or 3 deep because you're going to get pounded every week.
Big boy football.
And Mike Loxley is the head coach at Maryland, which Maryland has finished 5th in the Big Ten 3 years in a row, and won 3 bowl games in a row. And he is a Baltimore native, and he coached at Alabama, and he was one of Saban's guys. But he was on the broadcast today of the game, the baseball game, and he was saying that they're ready to take the next step. And I said, well, maybe I'll put them in my top 4, but I didn't.
Yeah, they better be ready. There's a lot of talk, and not to pick on our friends in Columbia, but even Beamer is saying the right things that you have to say at those media days and all the preseason stuff. And if they finish in the top 4 of the SEC, it will be a Gamecock miracle.
I almost bumped into Beamer the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
should have. All right, but you know what it definitely takes if you're going to make to finish at the top of any conference?
Energy, man.
It takes a lot of energy. Go to w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS for 10% off of your Jitterless energy drink. That's w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS and get 10% off of your Jitterless energy drink. Okay, so we've talked this all about football. We've said it's right around the corner. We've been making our public service announcement Saturday, August 24th. Listen up, spouses. That's it. That's the last Saturday without football for a while. And I have a special Rubens announcement. So when football starts on Saturday, August 31st, I talked with David, one of the owners. They're going to open. So the Powdersville location always opens at 11, but the Greer Parkway location usually on Saturdays does not open till 3. But on the day of the Clemson, Georgia game, they're both going to open at 11 o'clock. They're going to have some kind of kickoff party. You're going to be able to put your name name in a hat for a drawing that they'll have later on in the year. And they're hoping if that goes well, they're trying to really, really promote the college football thing. And they're going to kind of do the open early thing around Clemson's schedule, especially if it's an away game. So if Clemson has an away noon kickoff, they'll go back to the opening at 11 thing. So Saturday, August 31st, if you're not going to Atlanta, find the nearest Rubens and be there for their kickoff party. And hopefully it will definitely turn into a thing for the rest of the season. United Row. Okay, so if you've been watching this show, we've been keeping up with these ladies. They finished their 2,800-mile row in a boat, literally 2 girls and 4 paddles. And they went from California to Hawaii, and they set a record for the youngest pair ever to row across the Pacific. So congratulations to Anna and Jenny, 2 former Clemson Tiger rowers from United Row. So
way to go.
Good job. All right. So real quick, the last thing we have on our schedule for today, the other two big things that happened in college football this week were about scholarship expansion, which was part of the NIL settlement. Okay. So just real quick on the scholarship expansion. In the new model, schools are permitted to offer a scholarship to each player on a sports roster up to the new roster limits. With the move, roughly 790 new scholarships are available across the 40-plus NCAA sports listed in the settlement. This is according to Yahoo Sports. There are about 500 scholarships available in all sports in the current model, and under the new model, that number will go to more than 1,200. So that is really, really good news for college athletes. And good news, and I'm reading this, I'm thinking, okay, where was this when the NCAA was kind of fighting the NIL thing? That could have potentially helped that little fiasco way back a couple of years ago. But the other part, speaking of the NIL, is there's a settlement, and it addresses the damages. Bailey, they're going to pay $280 million a year for 10 years back pay. I guess I don't know how they're going to figure out who gets what. But that's a lot of money for athletes that they knew they weren't going to get paid when they signed up, but now they're going to pay them. That's a super big win for those players. Increased benefits from institutions to student athletes going forward, including additional NIL opportunities for student athletes directly with the institution. They're looking at 22% of average revenue and also the continued third-party NIL deals. So 22% of all this money we talk about these schools getting can be, I guess, divvied up. I don't know how they're going to do per player or whatever, but that's going to be like an okay, essentially pay to play, but that sets your salary cap, I guess, is the way it reads to me. So, right. However, all of this comes with, quote, a robust and effective enforcement and oversight program to ensure the new NIL model achieves its objectives. Now, I don't know what the objectives are. Do you know what the objectives are?
I guess to kind of make it more fair for everyone. I don't know.
That, and, I guess to just make sure, so the revenue can be pay to play because you can say the kids out there on the field or the court and they're helping earn that TV money.
Right.
But the other third party revenue, NIL revenue money, it has to be some kind of legitimate something. If you're getting paid to do commercials, you have to actually do the commercials.
Right.
I guess maybe something like that. So I don't know.
Yep. To me, that means that they're going to have to hire a lot of enforcement people, probably retiring educators.
Maybe potentially named James and Bailey.
Yes. That'd be great.
We're used to being the bad guys.
I want to be the enforcement guy in Columbia.
Yeah, as long as we can. There's no bias there at all. No. Oh, that'd be funny. But anyway, they still have some things to work out. Don't know how it's going to work out state to state and all this kind of stuff. But, Bailey, how much longer before they're just not – this is interesting because graduation rates came up at the same time, okay? And one player, I'm not going to say where, but one player was quoted as saying, "Why should we have to go to class if we came here to play football? We ain't come to play school. Classes are pointless." So people are fighting to give you all this money, and really all you got to do is go to school and play a sport. And that's just one player, but it's one that actually came out and posted it on X.
Well, I'm sure he got scolded.
I can't help but think. I mean, how much longer before they're not even school teams?
Well, they got. We're just missing we're missing the boat here. I mean,
we are missing the boat.
I don't know. I can't answer that, but I can tell you that Clemson's graduates way better than a lot of people's.
Yeah. Speaking of the first, if Clemson and Georgia were to go head to head on graduation rate,
it's a
not
blowout.
Even close. Yeah. Bless their hearts on the Bulldogs. All right, Bay. Real quick O's update.
Yeah, they've been struggling a lot lately, but so have all the other top teams in baseball. Last 10, they're 5-5. Beat the Padres today. They're still in first place. and it's near the trade deadline, which for baseball fans, that's pretty exciting to see how if your club is in contention, who they're going to pick up to help them win. So it's kind of like NIL, but it's professional. So
yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. All right, so coming up this weekend, we've been talking about this for a while. The Orange and White weekend is put on by Wayne Buckingham this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that'll be our show next Saturday night at the Gala. Will be our show for the weekend. So tune in. I think it'll be about 7 o'clock and 7 p.m., which of course we'll post it and you'll be able to watch it later. But if you're anywhere near Clemson, if you are a Clemson fan, you do not want to miss this event. You've heard Coach Ellis talk about how great of a cause it is. You'll be able to rub elbows with Ricky Sapp, Dale Davis. It just, the list goes on and on. Normally, he's posted that Taj Boyd. Normally, the current coaches can't make it because they're pretty busy.
Right.
But Taj Boyd and what's the defensive line coach?
Nick
Eason are supposed to be there. So if you want to come out, Mike can still put a team together for the golf tournament on Sunday, but it's a good cause. Check out our social media. Go find Orange and White Weekend on Facebook and get all the information. But there will be a broadcast Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday via the Fanboys. But it'll be Saturday night will be the Fun Fans podcast at the Gala with the Orange and White Weekend. And we're looking forward to it. All right. So we hope you enjoyed our typical sports show. We'll get back to more tailgate talk next week or when we come back after the Orange and White Weekend. That'll be a very, very cool show. It'll be interesting. We've already said to come back and see how our predictions turn out, and we look forward to seeing you at the Orange and White Weekend that starts this Friday. Thanks again for checking us out each and every Sunday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media and share, please. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
That's it. We out. Do what Pistol Pete would do at Oklahoma State.
Go Tigers.